Welcome to the Bearing It All podcast, where we dive deep into the backstories of celebrities, CEOs, and multi-million and billion-dollar entrepreneurs. There are no rules as we aspire to inspire by sharing real experiences, triumphant comebacks, and what the road to success really looks like. It's all about the grit behind the glamour. All right. Hi, and welcome to the Bearing It All podcast, where we talk about the grit behind the glamour. I have Grant Cardone here, multi-billion-dollar real estate mogul, serial entrepreneur, and just an all-around great guy. I am a huge fan of you, your family, your girls, and I'm so grateful to have you here. Hi, Grant. How you doing?
My pleasure to be here with you, Barbara, and I'm a mutual admiration for you and your career and what you've done and the voice that you hold for so many people.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And thanks for doing this. And, you know, I like to bring my friends on who have done very well to help my audience understand like what goes on behind the scene, really get to know your backstory. I think so many of your stories hit for me, and like you just tell random things. I'm like, wow, that I haven't heard anyone say that. So we'll get into all of that. Why don't you introduce yourself to my audience as if nobody knows who the hell you are, although we know everybody knows who you are. But let's just assume we're talking to the newest member out there.
Well, actually, I think most people don't know who I am because if you've just met me in the last 2 or 3 years online, you don't really know the story that a person goes through. Any person, by the way. I was watching the Sidney Poitier story the other night on Netflix. It was just like, wow, did not know his story, that he came from where he came and what he went through and how he changed his voice and his inflection and his dialect and what he went through back in the 60s to become the star he was. So, look, I grew up in Lake Charles, Louisiana, raised by a single mother. My dad died when I was 10, Barbara, as you know. I'm one of 5 kids. I was the last of 5. My twin brother and I were 4th and 5th. And
are you 5? You're baby B?
I'm baby 4. I was 5
You're
minutes.
Baby A.
If they got it right, by the way, you never know if they got it right. I might not even have the right name. Who knows? Maybe they mixed this up. But being raised by a single mother was a very big influence on me on both the way I see women, treat women, and at least from being raised by my 2 sisters and my mom, knowing kind of what women go through without completely understanding it. And we grew up in a, middle-class neighborhood, but my mom she had poverty fear because when my dad died, the income stopped, which is a big driver of who I am in my life. And even affects my work ethic today, the grind that I have. I really don't trust economies. And I don't trust futures a great deal because when my dad died, what happened was the income, the lifestyle that we had that he had worked so hard to attain for us. Like so many people back in the 50s and 60s, if you made it into the middle class, you made it because you came out of poverty. And once you had that, you wanted to hold on to it. When my dad died, all that stopped basically. Even though he left some money, he really did a good job, but the certainty that he was the breadwinner, that was gone. And when that's gone, fear sets in. If you're responsible, you're going to go into conservation and protective mode. And my mom spent the next really 30 or 40 years of her life, worried about the kids, worried about the money, worried about her future, worried about her ability to retire and that maybe the government couldn't help her with Social Security, blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of the story that I came from and all the businesses that I've started. There's probably 15 or 16 businesses now. We'll do about just blows my mind. Like we'll do John Leisure last night was telling me I'm overspender. I spend more than I make. And I'm like, John, you don't even know what I
do that.
like John, he's just playing with me on Clubhouse, right? But the companies will probably make $155 million this year in gross revenue.
Damn.
without all the other companies that are coming on that we're bringing on. Like, it's unbelievable the amount of success that I've experienced through either good luck, a lot of work, a lot of discipline. And the real estate portfolio was, Barbara, kind of driven out of my dad's. You watching what happened to my dad. The real estate will actually, I invest in real estate to do for me and my family what my dad didn't quite have in place, which is a machine that could take care of his family and his charities and his legacy when he
Well,
could
he
no
was
longer
just getting
work.
started, right? I mean, he
Yeah,
was
he was.
young.
Yeah, my dad was 52. I've outlived my dad by 12 years.
It's unbelievable. And your mom, how old was she? And so you and your twin brother were 10. And then
Yeah.
how old was the oldest? And how did your mom what did you see your mom do? What
Yeah,
did you
so
witness?
great. Nobody ever asked me that, and that really is what kind of molded who I am. But let's see, I was 10, my older brother was 15, my next sister was 20, and my oldest sister was 25. Is that right? 15? Yeah, because we were all 5 years apart. They were planning, right? My parents were
Wow.
planning. They were very
Hmm.
budget conscious. They were like, okay, we're going to have a baby, and then we're going to wait, and 5 years later have a baby. So my dad was clearly, I didn't have these conversations with him, but just looking backwards, they were clearly trying to plan out
Hmm.
how they would fund their activities. And then my mom, my mom had never really held a job. So it was back
She
in
held the
that
biggest
time.
job. I mean, she was a mom. We
Yeah,
know
yeah,
that.
exactly. She didn't have,
Yeah,
she
but
didn't have
not
that traditional.
an income
Yeah.
producing job. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I meant, right? But she did have this very important job. Now, that's really important until the money goes away, and then you don't know how to get money. And she also wasn't educated about how to manage money or how to invest it or who to trust. So 48, my mom never redated again, by the way. She was brought up by a stepmother.
Hmm.
I've never told this story. And she did not have a good experience with her stepmother. And I think she went on a half a date and blew out of the date because she's like, I'm not doing this to
Wow.
my kids,
Uh-huh.
which was the most unselfish thing a person could do, and probably
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
worst decision she ever made in her life, because then she just
Would
lived
she
for her
say
kids.
that? Would she say that though?
Would she say that today? I mean, if she was really honest, she's not around anymore, but
Hmm.
I think she would say it
Sorry.
today. I think she would say it now. I don't know that she'd have said it then, you know, but
No, I agree with you. It's completely selfless when you do that.
yeah,
I wonder, well, I'm sorry that she's passed because I would have wanted to interview her as much as I want to
yeah.
interview you. I'd really
Oh,
want to
my
dive
mom,
into that.
yeah, my mom was my best friend, man. We had this really, really strong bond. Different than my twin
Yeah.
brother, by the way. He had a very strong bond with her, but it was a different relationship. And it with my sisters and even my older brother that passed when I was 25. He was 20. He was 25. I was 20 when he died. So 10 years after my dad died, my older brother died.
What did he
And
pass
so I'm
from?
like, it was a freak accident on a petroleum gas well in Colorado.
Oh, that's
Um,
awful. I'm
I was talking
sorry.
to
I
him
had
on
no
Sunday night.
idea that.
Sunday night, yeah, Sunday night he was giving me some advice. I was 20. I was in trouble in my life. He told me what not to do. I didn't. I took his advice. He was dead the next morning. And so, my two role models, both these guys, my dad and my older brother, they were very articulate, charismatic, confident. No, sorry. Silver tongued devils. Like my older brother, I was like, that guy's going to be the president of the United States. He could talk, man. He could, women just like loved him. Everybody loved my brother Curtis. And, to die at 25 years old, man, it was like, wow.
I had no idea. And I know you had some drug problems. Was that before or after? Like, did that help you turn around? How did that play
Yeah.
a role?
Well, I wish I could say it helped me turn around, but I was already in trouble. I started using drugs when I was 16. By the time I was 20, I was a full-blown drug addict. And I'm not proud to say that, by the way, but it is what it is. And then,
Why? Like what? Like Why
Well, it
not?
was
That's
terrible. It
part of
was,
the fabric of who you are, and actually gives context to so many people that no matter where you are, you can rise through it. So, I just find it interesting because I find it so humanizing when you talk about your trials, your tribulations, the things that you've overcome. And there's not, to me, I don't identify with that. I find that so much more endearing about you that shit hasn't been easy. So I would be
yeah.
surprised to hear you say that because it does make you more human because you're kind of superhuman for what you've done.
Well,
I mean,
what's
you're
that
kind
rap?
of a
That
big deal.
it was all just a dream, and Word Up magazine. So I don't know what the exact lyric is, but yeah, dude, it's like it's a dream. Like for me, I remember using drugs for 9 years every day was the most degrading. Like when people hear drug addict, they think, "Oh, he's a bad guy." People that have never experienced that, the amount of degradation and self-loathing and hate that the drug addict has for
Mm-hmm.
themselves
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
is like it is. No, no, no. That's why when people say negative things about me, I'm like, "Are you kidding? That's all you got?" I know every character defect that I have.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very
Yeah.
aware of what I do that rubs people the wrong way. That even I say I shouldn't have said that. I know it. Like I'm very conscious and aware of what I'm doing wrong every day. And
Hmm.
this guy called me a recovered drug addict last night, like it was terrible. I'm like, yeah, recovered 35 years, hadn't used any drugs, pal. So that is my
Yeah,
history, though.
I
So
think it's just, I think it helps more people, and if I was to if I was to describe you, like if I was to be like, tell me about your friend Grant, I would definitely be more of, I'd have a different, I wouldn't speak about your real estate as much as I would talk about the value that you impart to others. Like you give hope to so many people, and that's your highest value, in my opinion. It's not so much the real estate, but that you shine a light on people that just are in despair, that feel like, what, I'm a shithead, I'm a drug addict, I'm an alcoholic, I came from a bad home, I'll always be. And then they hear your story and they're like, well, look what he was. If I can do a fraction of that.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
and if somebody wants to say that's a perception of them, I think it's one of your most powerful stories.
yeah.
It definitely
Well,
makes me be
I
like,
mean,
okay,
yeah, I would disagree with you. It's just, I would say that can't be my most powerful story. Otherwise,
one of your
um,
most powerful stories. It's one.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I like, look,
Because most people
when
don't
I went to,
recover. They don't go. They
yeah,
mire
yeah,
in
you're
it.
right.
It's the
Well,
end of
I
the
think a
road,
lot
but
of
you
people,
decided no.
even, yeah, even more people do recover though, but they recover, but they get stuck in their recovery. And one of the things I'm
Mm-hmm.
most proud about is because I did get stuck in my recovery. I remember being 25, 26, 27, 28, and I was like recovered from drugs, but I was not getting better in life. I wasn't growing my career. I was still a bit stuck in, I'm grateful I'm not using today. And at some point it clicked and I'm like, okay, I got to move on from this old story. That's why I
Yeah.
don't spend a lot of time in it, because to me, that's such ancient history.
Yeah.
While recovering from anything is a major, major deal, at some point, as you know, you've recovered from a bunch of stuff. Like at some point, you're like, okay, I got to move on.
Yeah.
I got to move on. I got to do something else other than this story between 16 and 25 years old. Now, you asked me, did my brother's death help me turn around? It would be another 5 years before I got any help. Actually, it drove me. It was like another nail in my coffin. I would overdose 3 times after my brother died. Like, it was terrible, man. It was like nobody understands how bad that part of my life was and how long it lasted. 9 years. And the hardest part was, Barbara, the biggest negative was that for 9 years, I tried to quit every day and I was
Mm-hmm.
unsuccessful. Every day for 9 years, unsuccessful in a commitment that I made. And that's the part that really beat me up. 9 years of saying I'm not going to do something, and then I would 30 minutes later.
It's a beast. I mean, it's a beast. And I think a lot of people can identify with that. And then, but getting rid of that narrative of like, you know what, I'm not that guy anymore. I'm going to be this guy before you are that guy is super powerful. I want to get back to your mom because I want to interview her and I want to hear her story. And I want to, how did she recalibrate? We got to look at it from her point of view, right? She's a single mom now. She's never worked. She never managed money. The dad is another generation ago where there were very definitive roles. And she's got 5 kids, 10 to 25. And she's, how did she do it? How did she do it?
Yeah, hey, man, I don't know. I don't know. Like what she did was miraculous. Okay. My dad left some life insurance money. Like my mom went on defense immediately. Like one of the things, if you see me operate in life, I move extremely fast. Like I have an idea and boom, I do something with it. My dad died on a Thursday. My mom had the house sold on Monday. She sold the house, downsized, moved, bought another house across from a school. Like she made decisions so quickly in contraction. She basically moved to a contraction, a violent from living life to like, okay, I got to pull back in, pull everything in. He left some life insurance money. The cars were paid. The house was paid. So she just undid everything and then lived a life of basically scarcity and conservation. And she would live that out the rest of her life. Really, she really never, like if my mom saw my life today, she wouldn't even be able to enjoy it because it would still be in her mind.
Survival.
Something's going to go wrong. I remember I told, because my mom was my best friend. So I would always call her when I was going to do something or when I was successful doing something. First person I would call. She's been dead 11, 12, 13 years now. I still today, if I have a success, the first person I want to pick up and call is my mom.
Who do you call now? Who's coming in on the interview? Bring him in.
Elena, there's projects going on over here, so sorry about that. But
No.
That's my new mama. That's my new mama.
She's the boss.
Yeah, so she was in conservation, and that conservation saved our lives.
Yeah,
and that asset. I talk about assets become liabilities. That asset of conservation, scarcity, conserve your money, be frugal. That would end up actually later in my life. It was an asset at the moment. It would become a major liability for me at the age of probably 35 to 45 when I couldn't grow and expand my businesses because I was still in this poverty, scarcity, conservation mentality.
What helps you change that? Because I think a lot of us are in survival mode, have a lot of fear. I mean, I identify with that. I'm always afraid, scared money don't make no money.
Yeah. So 2008, like I had worked, I guess it was 1990 to 2008, whatever meant, what is that? 18 years. I had busted my ass, done everything right, saved my money, didn't make any wild investments, never overspent. And then 2008 came. By 2010, I was almost broke. And I had accumulated, I don't know, I probably had a net worth at that time of 15 or 20 million bucks. And that went to 3. And I thought I was going to go broke. I thought I was going to go bankrupt. A bank failed. I owed $50 million to a bank. And I had $60 million worth of assets. And the bank failed. Called the loan. At the same time, all my company, I had 3 companies at the time. 2 of them were literally gutted. Like they went from making a decent amount of money to almost no money. And
what businesses were they? Were they?
They were consulting. One was an event business where I would travel around the country and do sales training for the auto industry. And the second one was a consulting company to the auto industry. And the third one was the real estate. At that time, I think I owned, in 2010, I probably owned, 300, 400 apartments compared to 12,000 today.
Right.
And so what happened was I wasn't using my money correctly. So in 2010, I think it was, I really took a look at, okay, what had I done wrong to put all this together? I was not part of the mortgage crisis. I didn't do any of the risky stuff. I didn't do any of the no money down stuff. but I
Yeah.
still got trapped by a global event. And I was financially punished for that. And I really felt like I let my family down and myself down. I sat down and said, hey, what did I do wrong here? And the thing that I realized after hours of looking at this, the number one mistake I had made was I did not go big enough. I was too small. I was in a conservation too long. I saved money. I had retirement accounts. All those things people hear me talk about every day. I had bought homes when I should have been building my business. I was paying down debt when I should have been taking on debt. I had, literally saved money in cash accounts, dumb cash accounts, when I should have been reinvested in my marketing, my branding, and advertising. And I thought if you would have asked me at 45 years old, had I done anything wrong before '08, I'd be like, no, dude, everything I'm doing is like by the book.
Yeah, because you're saving really money. That's what we were taught.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's what really made me the 10X man. I made a comment to Elena. She's like, what would you do different? I said, I have to 10X all my assets. I have to 10X the number of industries I'm in. I was in one industry. Today, I'm probably in 100. I had one company, I had two broken companies and a little bit of real estate. Today, we have 16 companies. The revenue is like 150 times higher than it used to be. And now there's, rather than 600 doors, or 300 units, there's 40 times more doors. So I told Elaine, I said, the next time this happens, and it's happening right now, by the way, this is another moment.
It's not 2008 though, because I don't feel like there's anything nefarious going on.
Well, it's a continuation. I feel like there's something nefarious going on.
Not like 2008 where the whole thing was a scam, but I guess it's all level. It's on a spectrum of nefariousness.
Now it's the Fed. COVID only had 2 or 3 years on the world population. Now they're going to pick it up with the Fed. The UN came out today and said the Fed needs to stop doing this worldwide because it's going to affect a major global contraction. So, you and I are in control of all that. So I just got to stay focused on what I am in control of. And I know that the way I was brought up, stay small, fly under the radar, save your money, invest in the Wall Street and, diversify your investments. If you study super wealthy people that have indestructible wealth, they do none of those things that we are trained, educated, and I believe indoctrinated to do. They don't do.
100%. And it wasn't until I really started listening in on the calls. I just met you through Clubhouse. You never came across my radar until Clubhouse, which is so great. But it's changed the way that I've looked at things. And I am very aware that I was also indoctrinated in when you make money, you put it in, Morgan Stanley and, Goldman Sachs. That's where you and now I'm like, wait a second, I have no control over that. I couldn't tell you what was what, and I want nothing to do with it. So I'm shifting my mindset to also realize everything that you talk about is landing with me, which is I'm taking now to my kids because I'm realizing, wait a second, I'm just propagating that same story of save your money. And I'm like, you're losing money. I lost a ton of money in the stock market over through all this. And I'm miserable because it's not fun for me. The stock market's not fun. Do you find real estate fun? I feel like you find this fun.
Yeah, well, I do because I don't lose in it. Like there's not the particular way I do it. I'm very disciplined in how I invest in real estate. It is fun for me because I know I'm going to win. Like any game that you win at, you're going to be like, dude, I like playing this game. Like there's a guy I play backgammon with. I know if he plays with me long enough, I'm going to beat him. And it is fun for me. Like I don't like losing. There was a test, some personality test where it says, do others think that you're a sore loser? And it's where you circle A, B, or C, right? And I'm like, I wrote in, you're fucking right, they do. And I'm proud of it. I am a sore loser, man. I don't want to lose. I don't like losing. I don't like losing money. I don't like losing bets. I don't like losing decisions. I don't like being wrong. And not because my ego says I need to be right or that I am right. It's because it reminds me, you made the wrong decision, man.
Yeah.
And I don't think responsible people should be making the right decision all the time. Not some of the time, not most of the time. Okay. Like I have to be, my family depends on me. There's millions of people that believe in me, and I got 8,000 investors at Cardone Capital. I need to be right all the time. So I think that's my responsibility. Like success, I think, is a duty. It's not an option for me anymore. It's not, I could do this because I get a country club membership or a new car. That's not why I'm doing success. I'm doing success because I think I can set a great example with other people.
Agreed.
That, hey, this guy is doing it. And if he can, normal Grant Cardone can do it. That came up from no connections. I didn't work with a big $5 billion company that had a big payroll. If he can do this on his own, under his terms, anyone can.
Yeah. And you never talk, I think you spent 5 years in college, right?
Yeah.
Did you say that? Yeah. So did I. I was
5 years,
and I just wasn't. We could talk about that all day long. I always say to my son who's in college right now, I'm like, if it's not your bag, don't worry about it. There's more than many ways. That's an old narrative that you have to go to college and get a good job. That's not something I'm no longer subscribing to that. I'm like thinking in different ways, but listen, he's in college, do your thing. But there's so much here, we were talking about Jersey before we started this. And before I forget, at some point in your life, I would love to get you and the girls up to the Jersey Shore. Old school, like 1973 is frozen down at the Jersey Shore.
Wow.
It's bike riding. It's old school. It's nothing fancy. Don't bring your Gucci loafers.
Yeah. Good. Okay.
And I think you really would. I think you would absolutely. And the girls, I have an 11-year-old. Actually, they're like a week apart. Our girls are a week apart. That would get along because you were talking about how beautiful New Jersey is. It is beautiful and it is great. And I really want to get you there. But I just, no fancy.
No, I don't. I don't have to have fancy. I like fancy when I'm most comfortable like I am right now. Like Elena loves to dress up, but I think
there's a time for everything. I think old school bike riding and like getting back down to and this is what what I wanted to talk to you about also. So I got to get you down to the Jersey Shore. Just bring a pair of flip-flops and I'll give you one of my my bikes from the 1960s and you'll absolutely love it. So you say that you do not own. Wait, like the part you talk about not owning a house. Do you not own one house?
Yeah. So, what I was saying was when I was 28 years old, I went and bought 28, 29, something like that. I went and bought a house. I'm like, looking back, I'm like, why was I buying a house? I should have been investing that money in the time and the energy. Forget the money. Houses are a terrible deal because they take attention. Now I bought this house in Malibu, but you guys should not, John Leisure's probably got, I don't know, 7 or 8 or 9 houses. So what? It doesn't mean.
I think one of them's floating down the Gulf of Mexico right now, but
yeah, might be the Naples property. But the point is, like, this is not the first thing people should be doing. And it is. It's almost a dream. It's called the American dream. Get a job, get a raise, take your raise, and buy a house. Yeah. It's houses have not been historically. And your audience is going to go nuts right here in this interview. You're going to see this big spike of chats. Houses are a terrible investment. They've done about 1% over the last 100 years in America. This last 2 or 3 years, everybody's like, my buddy made 200 grand on a house. That's over too now. I've been telling people for the last 3 years, if you made some money, sell your house, get your money, invest in assets that provide you with income and rent where you live. And so I'm not saying don't buy real estate. I'm a super real estate pro positive person, but I wouldn't buy a single family home. Now I just paid $40 million for this house. I've spent $2 million getting it ready. I'm put a bunch of art in here and I'm on Carbon Beach. This is Billionaires Row right here. Larry Ellison's up the street, Michael Milken, like the richest people on planet Earth live on this beach. I'm not going to lose money here. I'm going to crack one of these guys for about 80 million or 100 million. I can afford to do that now, but I should not have been doing that on the come up.
Understood.
I'll just to answer, like 8 years or 10 years ago, we moved to Miami, from LA to Miami. When we moved to Miami, we did not buy a house. We rented. I rented for 7 years there. Okay. And focused on my company, my business, my brand, and my marketing. I rented an apartment that was furnished. If the light bulb went out, we called somebody, fix the light bulb.
Yeah.
I didn't spend 1 second on anything for 7 years other than my business and my brand. And Barbara, if it wasn't for the last 7 or 8 years, you wouldn't even know who I am today. Everything that I've created happened in the last 7 or 8, 9 years.
See, I love hearing that. I think more people need to hear that. I feel like I'm just understanding myself. I'm just like, wait a second, I'm hitting the 5th floor April 22nd. And I'm like, no, that's going to be my decade, and I just think the way that these social constructs that we subscribe to, like, oh, you need to get it all done in your 20s. I'm like, no. I thought my 40s were good. My 50s are going to be even better. And when I hear stories like that, it validates, like, I know the best is yet to come because I just gather all this knowledge.
I wrote 8 books after I was 51. I didn't write one book before that. I've made all the money. I've made all the money in I've made more money in the last 10 years than any family member has made in the last 200. So, like, I could throw the first 50 years away. Now I wouldn't, because I learned a bunch. Okay. I learned what not to do.
Yeah.
And, I remember I was a consultant for probably 20 years, and I would consult these companies. I felt like such a fraud, because I was consulting companies on what they should do, and I hadn't really done it myself. I knew what everybody else should do. That's why I despise the experts so much, because they're always telling people what to do, and most of them have not done it themselves.
And nothing makes me more, nothing tweaks me more when people are like, I'm going to teach you how to make money, and they're living in, I'm like, okay, I don't know. Or no, nothing. Just be a person of your word and be who you say you're going to be. And that's why I'm kind of coming into this marketplace of like, wait a second, I actually have a little bit of value because I am exactly who I say I am. And that's hard to find. And I find you are the same way. And this is where I really connect with you, is that you have no problem. And you gave me the courage to speak up during COVID and advocate for what I thought was really important. And that was really hard for me. But when I saw you do it, I was like, at least I have an ally. I have a dog, and I have 3 dogs in the fight, my 3 kids. And so that was like, but I was like, I'm getting my ass handed, but I'm like, so's Grant. So let's get in. If you can do it, I can do it.
Yeah. You'll appreciate this. I was in, my daughter wanted to go to the grocery store and pick up some stuff the other day. I'm like, let me take you. And so we went up there, and we went into Rouse, picked up some sweet potatoes and some other stuff. And we're on the way out. She's putting the cart up, and I'm getting into my car in the parking lot, minding my own business. I'm not looking around. And a guy comes up and taps me on the shoulder and says, fucking major fan of yours. It was Stedman Graham.
No.
Yes. And I'm like, I said, what? I said, Stedman, how do you even know who I am, bro? He's like, I watch all your shit. I never comment. I never say anything. What you're doing is so important. Thank you for helping our community. Thank you for being authentic. I love the way you sell things, and I love who you are. And I was like, oh my God, this is Oprah's guy. If he's seen it, she's seen it. I had no clue. Like, there was no intention or desire, but I'm just telling everybody, like, when you become transparent and then comfortable with your transparency, like, you never know who that's really going to resonate with, because, people can feel the truth. And,
yes, agreed.
You can't fake who you are. This whole fake it till you make it, like, you just be who you are, okay, and admit your mistakes and move on. Like, that's. Like,
I agree. Well, I think that's the great part about Clubhouse, is that people can come in and be a fraud for for a little bit, but they always get, the veneer is always shattered eventually. And the real people that are authentically them, even though we'll go on there and talk and sometimes make an ass out of or say stuff we regret, getting, really just don't bring our highest expression of ourselves. And we're like, I'm just never coming back. We still show up because we're like, you know what? I'm just a human and I make mistakes. But it's so great that you said that about Stedman, because I am obviously on the same page with you with vaccines and what have you. Sometimes I feel like I'm alone in the fight. I'm like, oh my God, like I should just shut up. And I've had to tell people like, you're going to lose, your bookings, your collaborations. I'm like, I know, but I can't control myself. And I can't control myself. But in the same vein, I've had people, mostly high income earning men that cannot afford to lose their jobs, text me and say, we've got your back. Thank you for doing it. Men, it's 99. I don't know that a single one has done that, but many men are like, I am so grateful that you speak your truth. Although I did get kicked off Twitter, permanently suspended.
Whatever. Yeah, well, they're going to let you back on now because Elon's going to close that deal. So,
do you think so? I don't know.
No, they announced today. No, he's buying it. It's going through.
I'll believe it. I'll believe it when I see it. But I appreciate the courage that you've had.
I'll bet you $1,000 he closes the deal and it's announced this week.
Okay, let's put a deadline on it. When do you think?
Before what's today? Tuesday? Before Friday?
Before the end of the year?
But no, before the end of this week.
You think the deal is going to be closed at the end of this week?
I didn't say it would close, but he will announce this week that the deal will be done, and Elon Musk will buy it for $54 a share, as negotiated. Okay.
I want to take this bet because I don't think this. But I want to take this bet that this deal will never get closed. I don't think it's going to happen.
Okay, good. I'll bet you $1,000 that he closes the deal. Okay. And
the transaction is executed, fully executed, and I will.
Elon Musk will be the owner of Twitter.
Okay, and the $1,000 I will send to your foundation, or you send to my foundation. Is that fair?
Perfect.
Okay, we'll make that work. So, Grant, how do you want to be remembered?
I just want to be remembered, like that would be enough right there.
Nobody's answered that question yet like that, but
I'd be happy just to be remembered because I know it won't be because I did something wrong. I know who I am and I know what I do every day. So I see, my team sent me some kid clickbaiting me on YouTube, telling me what I do. I'm like, bro, did you watch the video? He's like, yeah. I said, was I on it? I said, no. I said, then why did you watch it? Like, if I'm not in the interview, why would you watch it? It's not going to be the truth. Otherwise, nobody's going to view the video. Nobody's going to watch a video of somebody promoting me. So the only way YouTube works is you have to have negative video. You got to have negative content about people. So look, I just hope people remember me. I know I will do the right thing in the end. It's a race. It's a long, long race. Life is. And people are going to remember me for the number of people I helped. If I didn't help you, you're not going to remember me. And if I did help you in a positive way, then you're going to remember me. By the way, you might not take my advice, but you might find out later, oh shit, I should have listened to that guy. So, I think here in the next 15 years, Grant Cardone will become more who he should have been in the first 25. I don't think people are going to know me as a motivational person going forward. I don't think they're going to know me as a sales guy that wrote sales books. Mm-hmm. They probably won't even know me as a real estate person at the end. They're going to probably know me more as a guy that changed, hopefully, if I could pull this off, a guy that changed the financial institutions and put the little guy in a position to have the same access to assets that wealthy families have. I mean, that's my hope. And who knows, maybe Cardone becomes a BlackRock or a JP or a Goldman in the future.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
That kind of house could live for 1,000 years.
I would love to see that, number one. Number two, I'd also love to see, I don't know, Cardone, like your how you teach about finances integrated into the school system. I know that the way that you talk about income producing assets, passive income, um, has been just so valuable in how I speak to my kids. And you don't teach it at this level that you talk, like you teach people at like a third grade level. It's very digestible and it's usable. I brought it home to my kids. I'll tell you this quick story. I'm sitting with the kids and we're talking about, we bike a lot in down at the shore, and they've lost bikes, and I get really upset about it. I'm like, you left your bike at a friend's house. Where's this bike? And it doesn't matter that the bike is from the turn of the century. What matters is when I have to go buy a new bike, I have to spend $800 to go buy a bike. And it's not that I don't have $800, but finally had a breakthrough grant, and I was like, all right, so you lose a bike, and I'm obsessed with this, but I have to go spend $800. How about if I take that $800 and buy a vending machine? And does that vending machine give me money? Like, and all of a sudden, like I found it. Like I talked to real estate. I was trying to talk to them about income producing assets and all the things. It was too high for them. It was over their head. Finally, I was like, what if I buy a gumball? What if you bought a gumball machine with that $800? Would you be picking up and Grant, the lights went on. I was like, oh, like I had a breakthrough of like, that's a depreciating asset. That's an income producing asset. Same $800. Where do you want me to put it? Breakthrough. They'll never lose another bike. I'm like, I literally think that they will be as, crazy. But because, I'm battling other things behind the scenes, with like about money and having value. And, I don't care if my kids want to become a history teacher. I just want them to be able to make money in the back, in the scenery, so they can do what they want to do. I want you to be able to pursue what they want to do and have the lifestyle that you want, because you're not just living off of, your hustle. So this is what I've learned from you. I'm a door-to-door sales girl with scaled sales team. So now I'm understanding a lot more. And I think that's the legacy. I know that's legacy that you're leaving out there. I would like to see it more integrated into schools. Do you think that's ever?
Yeah, I would too. But I think the school's probably on lockdown. They got that thing. They got that thing, they own that control of that thing. That's a money-making machine. The whole educational system, the 12 years, the books, the tuitions, it's kept people out of the employment numbers. It's very convenient for the government to come up with some arbitrary that you have to go to school for 12 years. And by the way, it's a law. You have to go for 12 years. It's the whole thing's It's a Ponzi scam on steroids.
And you know what? They're just so indoctrinated.
I don't buy my kids bikes. Okay. What I do, I don't buy them anything. Everything they own, they bought themselves with their money. So what I do is I invest. If I give them any money, they're all contracted. Both the kids are contracted to work for the company. They get a salary every year to do certain tasks. That becomes a tax deduction. And then that money, we say, here's $30,000 for your services. They have to sign the contract. They see everything. They agree to everything that's on the contract. They become an employee of the company. They get the 30 grand. They get to look at the 30 grand, and I take the 30 grand because, giving $30,000 to a 12-year-old is like giving a loaded gun to a 12-year-old. I take the 30 grand. I invest it in Cardone Capital. They can only spend, sorry about the banging in the background, but they can only spend, see, you're TV talent, because you would never even bring notice of that, right? That's what TV people do. So they can only spend the $600 or whatever comes their dividend check every month. I think it started out as $66. If they wanted a bike, I'm like, you got $66. Well, my bike's $700. Okay. Well, you need 10 months of that, or you need to take a loan from me. Okay. Yeah. Well, Papa, can I borrow $700 from you? I said, you can borrow $700, sign over your next 10 checks. I collect the money and we buy the bike. Now, if they want to go lose their bike now, it's on them, not on me. And it hurts a lot worse when they made the decision and they paid for it.
Yeah. No, I listen. What? So I can see your shirt.
A little trick you might want to try.
Okay. I am going to try because I'm done with the bike buying, but in their defense, they don't, I don't know. I have no defense. I could
I
do
don't buy
better.
them
We could all
anything.
do
I'm
better.
telling you, I don't buy these kids
Wait, I have an
anything.
idea.
Nothing.
I have an idea. You send me the girls for the week. I send you my 3 for a week. They come to Aunt Barbie's at the shore for a week.
Yeah.
They live the Jersey lifestyle, and we can all work our magic. But I don't think your
Yeah.
girls would want
Okay.
to leave after spending a week with Aunt Barbie.
Yeah. I don't want you to mess them up either, though.
No, oh my God, nothing but love. Good old
Yeah.
Jersey Jewish
No,
woman.
I would trust my kids with you, but don't be buying them
No,
stuff. Let them buy stuff. They like it better when they
they
do it themselves.
at the Jersey Shore, they don't need stuff. They don't even need flip flops. By the end of the summer, my daughter's on a bike in a big bathing suit, and I like no shoes. I got nothing. I'm like, got a cell phone. So anyway, I love these stories. I love spending time with you. I'm very grateful our paths have crossed, and looking forward to catching up more in person. This was a lot of fun, Grant.
Barbara, thank you, man. I appreciate you. Love you to death, and I always love spending time with you. I don't know if you were in that room last night.
Oh, with us crazy
Anyway,
pants. Yeah. I was
whatever.
in and out.
So I don't know. I like that I met you on Clubhouse and got to get to spend time with you and hear your story. And you're an inspiration to both men and women.
So where can people find you if they haven't already followed you already?
I don't know. I mean, wherever people want to find me, they can find me. Cardone Capitals, cardonecapital.com and grantcardone.com. I'm on all the social channels. So Google my name once and I'll find you for the rest of your life. You won't even have to worry about finding me.
You'll never. It's very true. You're on my news feed every 3 minutes, and I love it. I comment on your stuff all the time. Well, I'm going to follow up on that $1,000 wager. I'm feeling pretty strong about it.
I think you're going to pay me this week.
Whatever. It'll be going to what's your foundation? Is the Grant Cardone?
The Grant Cardone Foundation. The Grant Cardone Foundation helps kids that don't have dads. So
yeah, I love that. Oh, I wanted to tap on that. All right. Well, we are out of time. Can I get you back in the new year and we'll talk about
100.
Cardone?
Let's do it. We're going to do in the new year, Barbara. I need to get you involved in this. We're going to have 10 million people online in January. 10 million.
Jeez.
Okay, I'm going to do the biggest online event. We've done 2 influencers events and people are helping us. I need to get your help on this because we're going to reach out and educate small business owners and entrepreneurs on what they have to do to get through this global contraction, which is going to happen. It's happening right now. It's unfolding. It's going to be brutal. You're going to see unemployment numbers go up. You're going to see growth in the U.S. go down. It's going to be a lot of problems. But more than the problems is there's opportunities when people have the right strategy. So I'm going to roll that out in January. I'd love to have you be part of that.
Yeah, let's do it. Any way that, any way I can add to that, because I'm on board with you. I think if people don't act like the sky is falling and find ways to make it work for them, I'm with you. I got you. We're going to work together for sure. This was great.
You're the best.
I appreciate
love
you. Love to everyone.
Okay,
take care, Grant.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Bearing It All podcast, where we explore what it means to live your best life. To stay connected, go to barbaramajeski.com and leave us your email. We'll keep you posted on all that it means to have the health, wealth, and happiness that you deserve.